Okay, on slide 19. On slide 19, we have, the slide is entitled Demographic Transition. And we have this graph with red, blue, and black lines on it. And we have these stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, and stage 4. Stage 1 is pre-modern societies. Stage 2 is urbanizing or industrializing, becoming industrial societies. Stage 3 is a mature industrial society, and stage 4 is a post-industrial society. And when you look at the numbers, you can see the red line is the crude death rate, and the blue line is the crude birth rate. And you notice that they kind of follow together. So we have this thing that we call the demographic transition. And it is the transition from the stage 1 and stage 2 societies, pre-modern and industrializing, where you had high mortality and high death, to low mortality and low death. And so what we find is that this transition to getting our population under control is really a factor of death. Mortality, childhood mortality is the main factor in determining how many children a society has. And so we call this the demographic transition. And we have this, Nirvana. There it is. A picture of Nirvana. It's pretty, son. So how do we do this? We have two pathways to the demographic transition, and I mentioned them at the very beginning of the class. The social justice pathway, and this is where, in order to have society sort of shift on its own, what do you have to do? You have to have enough resources to the families so that their kids aren't dying, right? And that have women, in particular it involves the women, educated women who can go out and contribute to making a living. Now, why would that matter? Well, it ends up, that's empowerment. So if the woman is just sitting at home and dependent on hubby to bring in the money, she has less of a say over things like the numbers of kids they have. But and through people who study this, they know that as women become more empowered, they are more involved in the decision-making process. And if their kids aren't dying, they're going to choose to have less numbers of kids. But it involves bringing up society, social justice. If your kids are dying, if you don't have good health care, you're going to have more kids. The other way, of course, is, brute force, governmental brute force, right? Where you just prevent people from doing it. And all of this that I'm talking about empowering women, came out of a huge conference. There was the International Conference on Population and Development, and it brought together experts from 180 countries. I don't know how many there are, but that's almost all of them. That's most of them, right? And they all came up with the answer: social justice. Educate and empower women combined with high-quality health care for the entire population. And they went on to say that there has never been a case where there was a reduction in the birth rate where there wasn't first a reduction in infant mortality. So we got a couple of three slides here at the end. We have some definitions: family planning, allowing couples to choose the number and time that they have births, birth control, any method that reduces births, we didn't, as we had said, we had seen for thousands of years, we controlled our birth rate, right? And there was taboos against intercourse, having sex while you're breastfeeding, or, and then if you breastfed for a long period of time, that slowed down the birth. We have a number of different options. We have table 4.4. It shows how effective are different birth control mechanisms. Sterilization, pretty darn effective. IUDs, intrauterine devices, physically blocking, that works pretty well. The pill, oral contraceptives, there is a 1 to 2% failure rate in these, so it does happen. Hormone implants are something they do now. Condoms, not as good, et cetera, et cetera. There's a whole bunch of these that are down there. And the final slide deals with the trajectory for our population. And we definitely don't want to be the red line that's going way up there. The blue, and we're above the green. We're above the green already. So these are our goals, what we should be keeping in mind. All right, kiddos, we're going to have a test over this next week. So study hard.